Hey folks, Real Honesty with Jarmith I'm Jarmith and Slammiversary, the 15th anniversary, is just around the corner, so I'm here to talk about 10 of the best Slammiversary pay-per-view matches in history, in my own opinion. And this is going from the 2005 Slammiversary to the 2016 edition. Basically, any of the ones that are available on DVD. And I watched a few of the ones. I have a few in my collection. I watched a few of them back, and it's pretty enjoyable. So decided to do a little research, figure out, hey, what were some of the matches I enjoyed, and some I really remember well, and some I had forgotten actually happened to Slammiversary that I also enjoyed. So here's 10 of my best. I hope you enjoy. So, number 10, Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim, last knockout standing match. One of the best feuds that almost never was, because, as good as this feud was, only had a few matches in it. Because Taryn Terrell got pregnant and, had her kid, and she seems fine. And her and Gail Kim, though, tore it up on this night. It tore it up at any match they had, which was very few, but this was a damn good match. And really enjoyable, really fun, and really showed how the Knockouts division for a number of years was better than the women's division was presented in WWE. Because the Impact Wrestling Knockouts division was allowed to go out there and tear it up and just get in these matches that normally women were not put in on a big stage. And Impact Wrestling at this point was a pretty big stage, and it's building back up to that stage. But yeah, the 2013 edition, I can't say was all that great in Slammiversary, but this was a pretty standout match. Number 9, Angle versus Kaz from the 2011 Slammiversary. Really good. Really good stuff. Contrast of styles here. Angle, yes, was a little thinner than he was in his WWE days. Kaz is a top-tier performer that, in my opinion, Kaz has been one of the best performers for the past decade in wrestling. If not over the past decade, and very underrated. Same with Daniels. Him and Kurt Angle created magic. They had a good match in late 2007, right after Kaz had beaten Christian at TNA Genesis 2007 in a ladder match, number one contenders ladder match. And Kaz did not win the title from Angle, even though he maybe should have. It would have been a pretty damn good story. But this was still a great match. Both were more polished performers at this point. And they played on a little bit of that history that they had in that match. And people often forget about that 2007 match, which I recommend you guys go back and watch. It's from one of the Impact episodes in, I believe, November or early December. But it's just really good. And Kaz really showed how he belonged in the main event. And this was a great match between two great performers. Number 8, last man standing match, Bully Ray versus AJ Styles from the 2011 Slammiversary. Good couple matches, pair of matches, which is a couple, the more you know. Really good stuff, making use of the last man standing stipulation and just showing how there was a lot of really good wrestling in Impact Wrestling, even amidst the Hogan Bischoff era, which wasn't all that great, even though some of the talent was really good. But Bully Ray and AJ Styles tore it up. They tore it up, and it was fun. It was great use of stipulation. Both as good a performers as they are. AJ Styles is in a class all by himself, and Bully really became a great heel at this point, and it was tremendous. It was a tremendous match. Number 7, most recent Slammiversary, Lashley versus Drew Galloway for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship from 2016 Slammiversary. Great stuff from two performers that really weren't given their just due in WWE. Lashley had really come into his own at this point. It was really doing well. Really excelling. I almost put the one that he had with Aries and Eric Young from the 2014 Slammiversary. I decided to go with this because this just shows when you get two talents like this and turn them loose and give them a main event slot, it's hard to beat that. And it was a really good representation of how Impact Wrestling could put on some damn good wrestling, even as the company kind of started to have issues last year. But it was really good, and Lashley getting the win was, of course, expected. Drew had a nice little run after cashing in his Feast or Fired briefcase on Matt Hardy, and that was good. I hope they get rid of the Feast or Fired stipulation. They don't need to have that anymore. Just no point. I mean, have people earn title shots, do it the old-fashioned way. Don't try to be with a briefcase like Money in the Bank, like WWE. Be different. Be old school with earning title shots. Do tournaments. Do that kind of stuff. Be an alternative. But I really enjoyed that match. And then you go to Beer Money versus Team 3D at the 2009 Slammiversary. What I enjoyed about this was it was a great part of a trilogy. Team 3D did their best to establish Beer Money as a really good team, even though Beer Money by that point was still was still really, really good, and they had a really good showing at like Bound for Glory 2008 in that I believe it was a Monsters Ball tag match, yeah, because Abyss got set on fire during that. Team 3D and Beer Money just always had a great feud, and what I really enjoyed about it was just how they meshed so well. I mean, Team 3D being the more veteran team, and even though Rude and Storm had been around for a number of years, they learned a lot from Team 3D, and Team 3D put them over. Here at the end, which is what should happen. And Beer Money, great, in my opinion, greatest team in Impact Wrestling TNA history, and then also America's Most Wanted. It was just really, really good and great tag team wrestling. And that's something that Impact Wrestling did for years really, really well. And they're doing fine now. I'm just saying that they had such depth in their tag team division for a number of years. This is a really good representation of it. In 2009 Slammiversary, number 5, and more tag team wrestling. AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, Dream Rivals, Dream Team, versus America's Most Wanted. And this was wonderful. And I apologize, by the way, for clearing my throat here, dealing with some allergies. I love this match, and here's why I love this match. I love this match because AMW had gone from being mega baby faces and a really good tag team to being dastardly heels, and it really, really worked. Me and Jeff Jarrett's cronies and doing all that, and they had, they used dirty underhanded tactics. Are there any other kind of underhanded tactics to try and get the victory? And they held on to the tag titles for a number of months. I think it was nearly a year that they had the tag titles. I think it was nearly a year. They had beaten the Naturals sometime in 2005. So it was not quite a year, but I think it was like 8-9 months. And just the great chemistry that Daniels and AJ had. And they didn't have the tag titles long. They only held them for like a few months and then dropped them to LAX. But it was really, really good stuff. And their match with AMW is a world-class, absolutely wonderful. Seriously, go back and watch it. 2006 Slammiversary. It's great stuff. And I pulled up notes for this one, by the way, because it's from the 2009 Slammiversary edition. Great edition of Slammiversary, by the way. X Division King of the Mountain match where it was Suicide, Jay Lethal, Consequences Creed, who's now Xavier Woods, Chris Sabin, and Alex Shelley. It was for the X Division Championship. The King of the Mountain concept is divisive among people. I get why some people didn't like it. I didn't mind it. Yes, it was overly gimmicky, but I found it to be pretty fun. And it could lead to some good storyline psychology and everything, despite the goofiness of you have to pin somebody to become eligible to go and hang the title up, to become the champion. And then you go the penalty box for 2 minutes if you're pinned. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but a lot of times the King of the Mountain matches worked, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, and I mean, I normally don't agree with a lot of goofy booking ideas, but the talent made it work. And these guys made it work. And Suicide getting the win, that was exactly what needed to happen. Because they were establishing him because of the TNA video game, the TNA Impact video game, which is a shame that game didn't do better and wasn't made better, because I think they could have had a bit of at least a few additions in that series, and I don't think they had a single other video game because that one wasn't all that well received. And I played it. It wasn't that good. It was very buggy and very glitchy. This was a really good King of the Mountain match, though. Great opener. It was nearly 25 minutes of beauty. And now we go to number 3, which was, and forgive me, I wrote this down, so give me a second, but it's Petey Williams versus Kaz at the 2008 Slammiversary. It's when Petey Williams was, becoming a little Petey Pump, the little version of Scott Steiner, and it really worked for him. I mean, it Maple Leaf Muscle. It's a real shame that Petey was not used better. A real shame, because I thought Petey Williams was a really money performer. And had I extended my top 10 favorite Canadian wrestlers list, spoiler, check that out if you'd like, I actually would have probably included P.D. Williams because he was a tremendous performer. I believe he's retired. I don't remember what he's doing right now, but he was a great performer in Impact Wrestling. And I saw a little bit of stuff on the indies afterwards, but great performer. And him and Kaz just created magic here. It was really good stuff for the X Division title. And number 2, Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles at the 2008 Slammiversary. And I mean, my God, this was just so good. So good. They had such a good feud. They had such a great feud. I love watching these guys wrestle. Hopefully, maybe see it before both men retire again. Maybe see it in Japan at some point. I'm not going to say see it in WWE, but maybe see it in Japan at some point. I would like to see that, even though Kurt would be near 50 by that point. This, absolutely great. I mean, it's like, what would you expect between two guys that are just such great performers? Angle willing to put the right people over and willing to do the right business. And AJ Styles he was the MVP of TNA. He was the Sting of TNA, Impact Wrestling for over a decade. And this just shows why. It was just such a wonderful match. And number one, the 2007 King of the Mountain Championship, where it was to crown the first ever TNA World Heavyweight Champion, because TNA had finally left TNA Impact Wrestling and finally left the NWA, and now they just decided to make their own championship, which was good. It was nice to get away from the NWA and do that kind of stuff. The tradition I didn't mind at first, but they probably should have gotten out of it by about 2005. But you did, and then we wouldn't have had Sting win the NWA Championship at Bound for Glory 2006 and become the man who had one championship reign in 1990 at Great American Bash 1990, and then won in 2006. I mean, not a lot of people can do many firsts. I mean, that was something else. But anyway, it was Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christian Cage, and Chris Harris. Chris Harris, who had gone out on his own after James Storm and him had parted ways and had a not so good feud until Sacrifice 2007, which was wonderful. Great Texas Deathmatch. Great stuff. Great stuff. Loved it. Seemed like Chris Harris was praying for a push here. Shockingly didn't end up being the case. I mean, it's like, I think he feuded with Christian Cage for a little bit, and it was jobbed out soon afterwards, and ended up in WWE, where he was Braden Walker, and that was not good. But on this night, everybody performed well. Kurt Angle got the win. I expected Kurt Angle to get the win. I remember buying this pay-per-view and really enjoying it. And the money to my friend, who handed it to his dad, because at the time he lived with his dad, and I was like, okay, well, cool, we'll do that. It was fun. enjoyed the pay-per-view, and it was great stuff. Really enjoyed it, and just a lot of great ladder usage and weapon usage and that kind of stuff, and just really showed how the King of the Mountain concept can work with the right amount of talent. So anyway, that's what I gotta say. That's my 10 favorite Slammiversary matches. I would say main events, but I mean, I'm not gonna do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna be doing a worst list, so look out for that. Anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe. What are some of your favorite Slammiversary matches, moments, whatever? Leave them in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. As I said, it's been Real Honesty with Jar Mitlin. I'm Jar Mitlin. I will see you soon.